Seoul Land 214 Original Novel DouLuo DaLu 247, Sea Dragon DouLuo. Updated automatically every 5 minutes. Chapter 247. Sea Dragon DouLuo. TL by Bagelson. The Sea God 7 sacred pillars were scattered evenly around Sea God Island, and Sea Dragon sacred pillar was close to the middle of the island, relatively close to Sea God Mountain. From this could be seen the Sea Dragon sacred pillar among the 7 sacred pillars. Bai Chenxiang descended from the sky, flying above everyone. The Sea Dragon sacred pillar is another 500 meters ahead. Brother San, you all go first, I'll go back and look in on Sister Zuking. Once she's finished absorbing the God-bestowed spirit ring, I'll bring her to find you. Tang San said. Then we'll trouble you. Fatty, do you want to go with her? Before Ma Hongjun could answer, Bai Chenxiang already shook her head. No, he's too slow. I'll go. Finished speaking, in a flash, she was already several hundred meters away, really incomparably fast. Ma Hongjun looked somewhat helplessly in the direction Bai Chenxiang escaped, sighing. Bitter fate. How come this girl still seems neither close nor distant? Ning Rongrong smiled. Hasty men don't get to eat hot tofu, take your time. Xiang is already a lot better to you than before. At least I've seen her secretly glancing at you from the side several times. Even if I can't say she's full of tender feelings, at least it counts as paying attention. It's always a lot better than before when she didn't even want to look at you. You were given a chance, you have to grab it. Ma Hongjun exulted. Really? She's peeping at me. Ning Rongrong burst into giggles. Of course it's real. Especially after you got your 7th spirit ring and became leaner, she's been glancing at you 30% more. It has to be said that, even if the thin you isn't very handsome, at least you count as a normal person. One would estimate its reluctant feelings. Acceptable. Ma Hongjun snapped. Why? Wasn't I a normal person before? What's bad about a bit of fat? At least I'm not like certain people, going around shouting, erect, erect, gold fly. For the last bit, he imitated certain people to make a few vulgar gestures. Yelling your face. Damn fatty, did I provoke you? Oscar snapped. Fine, as you wish. Later once Xiang returns, I'll properly go with her to investigate some matters related to unsuppressible evil fire. Second brother, my mistake. Ma Hongjun knew he'd forgotten himself, and his noisy laughter instantly disappeared, changing with astonishing speed, looking pleadingly at Oscar, with a lot of what you want I'll do for you meaning. Go, go. Don't look at me with that kind of nauseating expression. GE isn't interested in you. Oscar kicked at Ma Hongjun. Just when Ma Hongjun wanted to say something else, he restrained his voice, his expression also returning to normal. Because, they had now already left the forest, again seeing that familiar scene of a sea within the sea. Compared to the 6 previous sea within the seas they'd seen, this one was clearly a bit larger, the water so crystal clear you could see the bottom, so clear you could see the tiny organisms living in the water. There didn't seem to be any sea spirit beasts here. The entire sea within the sea was circular, all kinds of plants around the shores, blue sky, trees, jade sea, interwove into a touching scene. The sacred pillar platform in the middle seemed to echo the sea within the sea, equally round, about 30 meters across. The sacred pillar in the middle rose 20 meters high, just as blue as the surrounding sea water, and with fine carved scales all over, a giant blue dragon was coiled around the pillar. Just on the edge of that platform stood a bare-chested man. He was more than 2 meters tall, right now with his back to the Shrek 7 devils, his whole body was like an inverted triangle, with wide shoulders and muscles like sculpted granite. A head of deep blue semi-long hair just reached his shoulders, curling naturally. And on his solid back was a blue pattern of a giant dragon. Looking at its shape, it was almost identical to the one coiled on the sea dragon sacred pillar. From behind there was no way to tell his age. Without a doubt, he was the guardian here, the strongest of the Sea God 7 sacred pillar protector DouLuo, Sea Dragon DouLuo. Right now, even though that golden light released into the sky was still there, the only one supporting it was the Sea Dragon sacred pillar. The light streamed from the top of the round pillar, the golden light reflecting in the water, gleaming and crystalline. Just at this moment, Sea Dragon DouLuo standing on the edge of the sacred pillar platform slowly turned around. Appearing in front of everyone was a simple face, seemingly only 30-something years old, with solid pectoral and abdominal muscles, glinting with a healthy bronze light like armor, and the equally deep blue eyes weren't looking at Tang San and the others, but at the sky. You came even faster than I imagined. Less than a third of the time has passed. From the start of the challenge until now it had already been more than 18 hours, from earliest until now at night, when only that golden ball in the sky still shone, without giving the slightest feeling of darkness. That light condensed from the 7 pillars was like a second sun above Sea God Island. Tang San didn't tfly over immediately, but rather brought Xiaowu over to sit by the shore, closing his eyes and sitting there breathing quietly. Even though he only looked with his eyes, he knew that this battle would be extremely difficult for him. Even though the spirit power and mental strength he had consumed had been practically recovered in the last battle, he still had to maintain his peak condition to confront this 95th rank title DouLuo. He still deeply remembered what sword DouLuo told him. After spirit power reached 95th rank, it entered another level. 95th rank title DouLuo was a qualitative leap compared to 94th rank title DouLuo. Sea Dragon DouLuo looked towards Tang San sitting cross-legged, still without any expression on his simple face. He also sat on that sacred pillar platform, closing his eyes. As he sat, Daimyo Bai, Oscar and the others immediately discovered that this Sea Dragon DouLuo seemed to fade away, his aura disappearing, as if his whole being had melted into a unified whole with his surroundings, without any separation. As if he himself was that blue dragon coiled around the Sea Dragon sacred pillar. Besides Tang San, the others had already finished their 5th trials, so everyone also sat down, quietly waiting for this battle to approach. They had of course also seen that the Sea Dragon DouLuo was formidable, but they still had even more faith in Tang San's strength. Especially when Tang San's 5th spirit ring had just evolved to the 100,000-year level. Even though there was a gap in spirit power, 400,000-year spirit rings was already enough to make up for this deficiency. The outcome could only truly be determined through battle. Tang San sat for a full 2 hours. Facing the last battle, he didn't have any impatience. Once he again opened his eyes, that pair of eyes even deeper blue than Sea Dragon DouLuo's, were filled with a dreadful calm. Pulling over Xiaowu sitting next to him, Tang San drew her into his arms, softly kissing her forehead. Holding her hand and leaping up, the blue-silver emperor right leg bone flying ability activated, soaring towards the Sea Dragon sacred pillar platform. As if pulled by the aura, when Tang San opened his eyes, Sea Dragon DouLuo equally opened his eyes, floating up and gazing at Tang San's pair floating over. He held no contempt for Tang San, nor did he consider rushing to attack, letting Tang San smoothly bring Xiaowu to land on the platform. "Welcome to the Sea Dragon sacred pillar." Sea Dragon DouLuo's calm voice echoed. His voice was simple and deep, giving a humming expression, sounding less like he was talking himself, and more like it was a resonance from the sea within the sea. "Hello, Sea Dragon DouLuo." Tang San held Xiaowu and bowed slightly to Sea Dragon DouLuo. Sea Dragon DouLuo leaned over slightly, not accepting his bow. "I'm not qualified to accept your courtesy. Tang San, do you know why your 5th trial is to challenge all the 7 title DouLuo?" Tang San frowned. "I don't. This is the Lord Sea God's decree." Sea Dragon DouLuo noted. "That's right, this is indeed the Lord Sea God's decree. But at the same time, it is also the process for you to gain the approval of the 7 sacred pillar protector DouLuo. I'm already aware of how you passed the previous tests. Even though you did very well, it's still wrong." Light shifted in Tang San's eyes, sighing softly. "Yes, my mistake. I shouldn't have drawn support from my comrades. Perhaps it was all the title DouLuo Senior's reputation that influenced my confidence." Sea Dragon DouLuo said calmly. "Among the 6 you faced before, you only gained Seahorse, Sea's Illusion, Sea Star and Sea Witch's recognition. Not in the battles with Seal Ants and Sea Ghost. This is not the meaning of the 5th trial. However, this won't influence your present 5th trial. I am the final examiner of the 5th trial. Let us begin now. Senior, please." The light in Tang San's eyes instantly sharpened. Sea Dragon DouLuo's words didn't influence his mind. After 2 hours of recuperation, by now he was already fully prepared. Completely in peak condition. Regardless of whether he had obtained the approval of all the Sea DouLuo, at least he would finish the Sea God 5th trial before anything else, at worst the final reward would be a bit weaker. Golden blue light instantly spread from his body, followed by 2 yellow, 1 purple, 1 black, 4 red, 8 spirit rings appearing, strand after strand of blue-silver emperor drifting around him, one among them twisting around Xiaowu's waist. At the same time, with a red flash of light, Xiao Wu's soul entered her body. This was already the final battle, there was no need to keep saving Xiao Wu's time. Xiao Wu and Tang San had cooperated for a long time. With a flash, she already hid behind Tang San. Seeing Tang San release his spirit, Sea Dragon DouLuo also began to change. The sea dragon tattoo on his back brightened, intense blue light instantly enveloping his body, berserk energy waves rushing out. In that instant, giant waves rolled out in the sea water from the sacred pillar platform. On his bare upper body, the skin was swiftly covered with blue scales. The scales were round, each one with a bulging protrusion. Very soon, all of Sea Dragon DouLuo's bare skin was covered with scales. His originally imposing body also expanded a bit, a deep blue crystal appearing like an eye on his chest. Vaguely, an immense blue dragon image appeared behind him. Without a doubt, this Sea Dragon DouLuo was definitely a power attack type battle spirit master. Among the Shrek 7 devils, Daimyo Bai's strength was the most similar. Ring after ring of deep blue ripples spread out from Sea Dragon DouLuo's body, 9 rings rose from underfoot to cover him, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, seemingly no difference from the other Sea DouLuo. It was the most ideal spirit ring configuration for a title DouLuo, disregarding 100,000-year spirit rings. Sea Dragon DouLuo's arms were especially thick and solid, sharp dragon claws condensing like 5 short spears. Judging by the spirit's energy fluctuations, the sea dragon spirit that Sea Dragon DouLuo possessed absolutely wasn't of lower quality than the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon spirit. Just that his capabilities were water, rather than lightning. Blue light blossomed from under Tang San. Even though he didn't use his 7th spirit ability Blue Silver Avatar at once, he still directly started the Blue Silver domain. Confronting a 95th ranked power attack type title DouLuo with a first-rate spirit, a frontal confrontation was clearly unwise. But boundless nature and 8 spider lances combined devouring golden threads were clearly the best method to confront Sea Dragon DouLuo. The Blue Silver domain's range was enormous, especially after Tang San's 5th spirit ring evolved. He clearly sensed that his Blue Silver Emperor had also subsequently evolved. With a thought, the Blue Silver domain had already covered the entire sea. Sea Dragon DouLuo wasn't alarmed because Tang San released the domain, nor did he launch any attack. He still stood there silently, ignoring the layer after layer of tree images appearing around him. Tang San, among the Sea God 7 Sacred Pillar Protector DouLuo, only I and Sea Illusion possess domains. I know you have 2 domains. This is something I've never even heard of, and on that I have no opinion. However, in front of me, no matter how many domains you have, they are all useless. Because, my domain is called Devil Breaker, and it has only one effect. That is, to break all domain abilities. As he spoke, a bizarre blue ripple spread out from that eye-like crystal on his chest, and a strange scene appeared. Tang San didn't feel any attack, but his blue-silver domain quietly disappeared in that rippling blue wave. Boundless nature's illusion obliterated completely in the blink of an eye, exposing the true scene of the Sea Dragon Sacred Pillar platform. Devil Breaker domain? Tang San drew a deep breath. The world was vast, there really was nothing that was too strange. Even a peculiar domain like this that could break all other domains existed. Even though it held no strengthening effect to oneself, and wasn't even a bit helpful against opponents that had no domains, all powers with domains would be severely restrained. And like him with 2 domains, it was a complete tragedy. Having lost his domains, Tang San's strength could be said to have dropped a major step. Not only couldn't he use the boost and weakening effects, he also lost the use of a lot of applicable tactics. Confronting a power like Sea Dragon DouLuo while only being able to fight head-on, absolutely wasn't a comfortable thought. Watching the blue-silver domain melt away, Sea Dragon DouLuo's eyes flashed. Take care. With a thump, Sea Dragon DouLuo's right leg heavily swept the ground, launching him like a cannonball towards Tang San. At the same time as he used force, one could clearly see how his scales all stood up, like sharp saw teeth, intense blue light blossoming explosively, fusing together with the effect released from his first spirit ring, dyeing every part of his body blue. He leaned forward, almost parallel with the ground as he charged, keeping a perfectly streamlined profile, his right claw sweeping towards Tang San's chest. With Sea Dragon DouLuo's attack, Tang San's eyes also brightened equally, a formidable opponent arousing his intense fighting spirit. Neither dodging nor avoiding, he used Ghost Shadow Perplexing Step, his body swaying, his right hand making a slight twisting motion in the air and slapping at Sea Dragon DouLuo's claw from the side. In that instant, Tang San's right hand turned completely jade white. Without using any spirit abilities, this seemingly light palm condensed numerous Tang sect secret skills. With a clapping sound, Tang San swept past next to Sea Dragon DouLuo. Sea Dragon DouLuo swayed once, his left hand slapping the sacred pillar platform, making him flip over, and another claw swept out, scratching towards Tang San. Still flickering like an illusion, Tang San bent back slightly, his equally flickering jade hands matched Sea Dragon DouLuo's hands, leveraging the force, he unloaded Sea Dragon DouLuo's tyrannical strength, equally destroying his balance. Good! Sea Dragon DouLuo roared with excitement, his body spinning around and around, already changed position with Tang San. Two simple exchanges, and clearly neither side had used their full strength, but they'd also both sensed the opponent's power. Tang San clearly discovered that Sea Dragon DouLuo's claws held a frightful power, not only exceptionally sharp, but also extremely heavy. When they came into contact, he would immediately feel a mountainous pressure hit him, on top of which was a spirit power wave filled with destructiveness. If he really was hit head-on, even a small mountain might not be able to resist collapsing. And Sea Dragon DouLuo on his side had another feeling. In his eyes, Tang San gracefully changed his stance, coming into contact 2 times in succession, both just colliding with the force he used. His hands were steady and solid, and moreover had a kind of special energy, the force he exerted had actually disappeared unseen like a clay ox in the ocean, and his body had also changed direction, pulled by his own force. Extremely peculiar. He had no way of knowing that Tang San preciously used the Tang sect's secret skill Ghost Perplexing Shadow Step to make him untargetable, and then used mysterious jade hands so he wouldn't be injured in the exchange. That bizarre energy was the controlling crane catching dragon's technique. But due to Sea Dragon DouLuo's erect scales, as well as his berserk energy, Tang San didn't dare forcefully counterattack, it was just a probe. In terms of strength and spirit power, Tang San clearly wasn't his opponent. But in terms of diverting and calculating force, let alone Sea Dragon DouLuo, even Sea God DouLuo Bo-Sixi might not be stronger than him. Along with his strength growing, Tang San's controlling crane catching dragon had grown increasingly skillful. If something could be settled with just spirit abilities, he wouldn't easily use Tang sect's secret skills, these skills not part of this world were the Tang sect's greatest aces. Again. Seeing that Tang San didn't actually use any abilities, Sea Dragon DouLuo didn't launch any of his own. Spreading his claws, he was about to lunge again. Wait a moment! Tang San suddenly shouted, making a stopping gesture. With Sea Dragon DouLuo's formidable strength, he could revoke his strength as well as exert it. Floating back down to the ground, he said astonished. What? Tang San said calmly. Senior, I have a proposal. Let us use a special method to conduct this battle, how about it? Special method? I'm listening. Excited light pulsed in Sea Dragon DouLuo's eyes, clearly it was because his previous exchange with Tang San had ignited his fighting spirit. Tang San said. Even though my 2 domains are restrained by senior and can't be used, I have altogether 5 spirit bones. 4 among them are on the 100,000-year level. In terms of spirit abilities, I absolutely won't lose out. Senior said before that I took shortcuts in the previous battles. Then, this time I hope to be able to fight fairly with Senior. Neither of us will really use any spirit ring or spirit bone abilities, only relying on our spirits to fight and determine the outcome. What does Senior say? Sea Dragon DouLuo looked distracted a moment. Looking over Tang San, looking over Xiao Wu dodging aside. Including her. His character seemed straightforward, but he was in no way impulsive. Tang San could pass 6 precious sacred pillars to come here. It absolutely wasn't just shortcuts. His strength was also extremely astonishing. Moreover, after Xiao Wu's soul returned to her body just now, Sea Dragon DouLuo immediately discovered that this stunning young woman equally posed a threat to him. In a 1 versus 2 without using spirit abilities, he was definitely at a disadvantage. Tang San firmly shook his head. Of course not. Even if Senior's age is far higher than mine, this is a fair confrontation between men. It's you and me. Fine, then let's use only spirits to fight. Sea Dragon DouLuo no longer hesitated, directly agreeing to Tang San's proposal. Tang San's 400,000-year spirit rings were arranged clearly in front of him. This youth possessed 400,000-year spirit bones among a total of 5 spirit bones, and that he wasn't inferior in terms of skill, and had endless variations, had been clearly demonstrated in the previous sacred pillar battles. even though he didn't know what his reason was for now fighting with him without spirit abilities. No matter what was said, it wouldn't be a loss for him. He was still a senior, and naturally he would be embarrassed if he didn't agree. Hearing Sea Dragon DouLuo agree, Tang San revealed a faint smile, thinking to himself, "It's good that you agreed, I was only afraid you wouldn't." Sea Dragon DouLuo's thinking was correct, when not using Spirit Ring or Spirit Bone abilities he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Tang San also understood this bit. However, without the two great domains for support, he had no certainty of being able to defeat Sea Dragon DouLuo. This was the sea within the sea, not just dry land. One could imagine how terrifying Sea Dragon DouLuo's strength would be after he used Spirit Avatar. Without help from the domains, how would he resist the opponent's unknown ninth spirit ability? The more complex the battle, the more numerous the chances for defeat. Rather than that, it would be better to simplify the situation. In a pure punch-out, Tang San also had his advantages. The golden blue light vanished, even those 8 gorgeous spirit rings disappeared simultaneously. Seeing Tang San withdraw his spirit, Sea Dragon DouLuo couldn't help being distracted. This fight was supposed to be without spirit abilities, not without spirits. What was this kid putting away his spirit for? Tang San very quickly gave the answer. While indicating Xiao Wu to step aside, he simultaneously raised his left hand. In a surge of black light, a black hammer quietly appeared in his palm. The Clear Sky Hammer. In a situation without using spirit power, what spirit was more suited to a punch-out than the Clear Sky Hammer? As the world's most forceful, most destructive formidable spirit, the Clear Sky Hammer finally once again went on stage in Tang San's hand. Along with Tang San's constant improvements in strength, especially after his spirit power broke through the spirit avatar level, even without spirit rings, the Clear Sky Hammer had also changed somewhat. The shaft was now 1.5 meters long, covered with a spiral pattern that made holding it even more stable. The head was especially enormous, a cylinder shape with a cross-section diameter of 1/3 of a meter, and 2/3 of a meter long. On top was carved a complex pattern of magic lines, at the same time the imprint of the Death God domain. Due to the Clear Sky Hammer being his spirit, Tang San couldn't really feel its true weight, but according to his estimate, the current Clear Sky Hammer weighed no less than a ton. Weight was originally one of the Clear Sky Hammer's most dreadful properties. If it was after Tang San added spirit rings, its weight would rise to an even more terrifying degree. According to what Tang San knew, the Clear Sky School Master Tang Xiao's Clear Sky Hammer absolutely weighed more than 5 tons. Even without using spirit abilities, just using spirit power with each swing, there was no need to doubt its destructive power. This was also why the Clear Sky School painstakingly researched created spirit abilities for the Clear Sky Hammer, an important reason it could become the world's foremost spirit master sect. As a Sea Spirit Master, Sea Dragon DouLuo didn't know anything about the Clear Sky Hammer. But he watched a spirit tool suddenly appear in Tang San's hand, and even more withdrew his blue-silver emperor. He couldn't help being shocked, looking doubtfully at Tang San. "This is..." Tang San firmly said. "This is Junior's twin spirit. Senior, please advise." Twin spirits. Sea Dragon DouLuo's loyalty changed color. Even though he didn't know the Clear Sky Hammer, he had still heard of twin spirits. Only it was his first time seeing one. Even though the Clear Sky Hammer didn't have any spirit rings, Sea Dragon DouLuo had a faint feeling of being tricked. But he was after all the head of the 7 Sacred Pillar Protector DouLuo, words said were like water spilt, how could he take it back? "Come!" With a deep shout, Sea Dragon DouLuo raised his dragon claws to Tang San. Tang San's left hand grasped the Clear Sky Hammer, taking the initiative to launch an attack. Taking 3 quick steps forward, the Clear Sky Hammer swung upwards from below with momentum enough to set the sky ablaze, going straight for Sea Dragon DouLuo's chest. Sea Dragon DouLuo neither retreated nor dodged. With a deep roar, 2 dragon claws smashed down as one. He would test just what was so peculiar about Tang San's twin spirit. Hong, this was a collision without any technique. Tang San's Clear Sky Hammer was smashed down, forcing him to stumble a couple steps forward, and Sea Dragon DouLuo's 2 dragon claws were simultaneously bashed up, his body swaying, also retreating a step. Due to his face being covered by scales, there was no way to see his expression, but from the expression of his eyes one could tell how shocked he was right now. Sea Dragon DouLuo clearly felt his hands transformed into dragon claws go numb. From that pitch-black hammer came an impact force that was difficult to describe. Even though he didn't use his full strength, this exchange immediately brought him the discovery that, while not using spirit abilities, his spirit seemed to be restrained by this seemingly unremarkable black hammer. In terms of power attack, what was stronger than the clear sky hammer? In terms of violent force, what could compare to this number 1 sex spirit? Following the momentum forward, Tang San didn't halt. Stepping off with the toes of his left foot, his whole body spun rapidly, and the clear sky hammer once again swung out. But making Sea Dragon DouLuo confused was that this swing wasn't aimed at him, but rather swung at empty air, and moreover his whole body seemed to be forcefully spun a turn by the clear sky hammer's momentum, sending out yet another swing, advancing like a whirlwind, forging towards him. Created spirit ability? Sea Dragon DouLuo's battle experience really was too rich, even when he'd only seen 2 swings, he immediately identified it. His eyes displayed a cold glint as he crouched back slightly. You have a created spirit ability, don't say I don't? Intense blue light erupted from every scale on Sea Dragon DouLuo's body. That wasn't a spirit ability, but his incomparably tyrannical spirit power. That dragon illusion behind him suddenly grew distinct, and as he moved, a low dragon song slowly echoed from the surface of the sea. Sea Dragon DouLuo suddenly faced upwards and roared, the resonant dragon cry resonating with the low sound from the sea water. In that instant, it seemed as if all the water element between heaven and earth condensed within his body. Taking one heavy step forward, confronting Tang San's clear sky hammer, Sea Dragon DouLuo brazenly went to meet it, left leg forward, his whole body flew up, dragon claw forming a fist as he rotated violently in midair, without the slightest thought to defense, his whole body was covered in intense deep blue spirit power, striking towards Tang San like a shooting star. What Tang San used was of course disorder-splitting wind hammer method, but it wasn't the original one, but rather one that had undergone his own personal improvements. A disorder-splitting wind dance combined with ghost shadow perplexing step. As his strength rose, this disorder-splitting wind dance could be used however he wished. While Sea Dragon DouLuo charged up strength, he had already swung 16 times. Seeing the opponent attack him, immense energy locking down a large area, the 17th hammer swung out, meeting it directly. Hong! The moment hammer and fist collided, everything seemed to stand still. The next moment, Dai Mubai and the others on the shore without exception covered their ears. An intense shockwave exploded from the Sea Dragon sacred pillar platform, and all the sea water within several dozen meters sank by 10 meters, enormous waves surged towards the sky, heavily striking towards the shore. Xiao Wu also dodged behind the Sea Dragon sacred pillar, thereby avoiding this terrifying blast wave. Smashed scales fluttered in the air, turning into sparkling specks of blue light. At the same time flying off, was scarlet blood. The 2 people at the heart of the collision flew away like artillery shells, thrown more than 50 meters away before dropping into the sea within the sea. In order to defeat the opponent, even though Tang San and Sea Dragon DouLuo couldn't use spirit abilities, in that one strike before, both sides had used their full spirit power. The 1-ton clear sky hammer plus the superimposed spirit power of 17 swings, its destructive power was obvious. The created spirit ability Sea Dragon DouLuo used was called life-giving skill, while not using any defense, raised attack power by 200%. In fact, he was a 95th rank title DouLuo. Instantly raising his attack power by 200%, that was somewhat terrifying. It was these 2 kinds of outrageous attacks that collided. Tang San's clothes all burst open under the violent impact, exposing solid muscle, all his bones making popping sounds like fried beans. Blood madly spurted out as he was blasted into the air. On the other side, Sea Dragon DouLuo using the life-giving skill wasn't feeling any better. The scales on both his arms flew in all directions, and he equally splashed out blood. As he flew out, he equally spit blood. In a contest of force, both sides suffered. Absolutely don't believe that Sea Dragon DouLuo after using Sea Dragon body enhancement wouldn't hold an advantage when both sides were injured like this. Even though Tang San couldn't use spirit body enhancement, he was as one with the clear sky hammer, and the clear sky hammer had endured the overwhelming majority of the opponent's attack power. Moreover, Tang San possessed 5 spirit bones, and after having 400,000-year spirit rings, his physical power wouldn't be below that of Sea Dragon body enhanced Sea Dragon DouLuo, and might even be even more formidable. Soaking in ice-cold sea water, even though the clear sky hammer's weight didn't affect Tang San, it was extremely effective on the sea water. The 1-ton clear sky hammer directly pulled Tang San to the bottom of the sea. Finish here. 3 more to go. Likes, comments, subscribes. Good luck always.